Alright guys, another day, another strength. We got another cooking video here. So last week I did a roast chicken. This week I'm doing some steaks. We're treating ourselves, right? So these steaks are from Costco. They are the Petite Sirloin cut. These are USDA, so they're not the prime ones. They have both there. There's just a couple dollars difference per pound between them, but I've done the prime before, I've done these. I don't really notice the difference, so I'm just doing the cheaper one. But these are $8.99 a pound generally. Usually it comes in a big pack of 6 steaks, and each steak is between 3/4 of a pound and a pound. So a lot of the time what I'll do is I'll cut each steak in half, so I actually get 12 steaks out of it. And the pack usually is between like 40 and 45 bucks. So 6 to 12 steaks, depending how big you want them, for about 40 to 45 bucks, right? Not bad for steak. But still a little bit more pricey than I usually go. But yeah, so I got these bad boys. They are seasoned up with some sea salt, some black pepper, and then I have Omaha steak seasoning, which has some like citrus in there, some garlic and onions, that sort of thing. The nicer the cut of steak, usually the less I'll season it. Like more just salt and pepper, or honestly just salt a lot of the time if it's really nice. But with these, they're just kind of middle of the road, so I put a little bit of extra seasoning on there. I air chilled them for the last about 20 hours or so. You don't have to do that. I just like it because it helps dry them out some more. You don't want them to be super moist when you're searing them, because then the first like however so often is just going to be you burning off the moisture in the steak, right? So I want to get right to the searing. I'm going to sear them 30 seconds on each side, so I'll actually film a good bit of the cooking process. With the chicken, it's a lot more hands off. You just kind of let it cook. With this, I do a little bit more active in the process, right? So every 30 seconds, I'm going to flip them. Usually, I will do I'll do it that way. You can also do like a reverse sear. You can do a double sear. I tend not to mess with those. They kind of take a lot of time, and I find that they don't come out as good. This is my preferred method. So I'm going to use butter to cook them in. If I'm using like poultry or fish, usually I'll use olive oil. Occasionally I will use, same with eggs too, olive oil for that. Occasionally I will use coconut oil, depending on what I'm making, if it's more like Asian inspired. Like I made some salmon yesterday. I'll make a video on that eventually, where I used coconut oil, seared up some, it was onions, bell peppers, some spinach, and some sesame seeds, and then had the salmon as well in there afterwards. But yeah, for the veggies here, it's the same as last time. I still have some more of those, so not much has changed there. I got some garlic, I got some carrots here, and some asparagus here. Cooking all that up in the oven, so I'll throw that in before I do the steak, let that kind of heat up. And then also, speaking of the oven, I'll probably sear the steak for about 2 minutes on each side, like 4 minutes total, and then throw it in the oven for a good like 10 minutes or so. I have a meat thermometer, and I usually get it to around like 105 in the oven, and I find that will heat it another about 20 degrees or so while it's resting. So once it's done cooking, I'm going to rest it for like 5 minutes, and then usually it heats up a good like 20 degrees, I've found. You kind of have to experiment with your own kitchen, see what happens when you do that. Everybody's kitchen is a little bit different, pans and all that, right? But yeah, cast iron pan, my go-to, and that's really, it's pretty simple. So I will let these rest a bit longer, and then we'll get into the cooking, and we'll see some of that. Alrighty, pan's nice and hot, veggies are on. I can tell it's hot enough because it's smoking a little bit. That's what you want. Don't want it to be too cold, because then the steak is not going to sear properly. But yeah, so I'm gonna go ahead and add my butter in, and then throw the old steaks on, and then set the old timer. Butter on that bad boy. Kirkland, grass-fed, great stuff. Nice and golden color. Don't know if it's actually any better for you, but it looks pretty cool. Tastes quite good. Get the butter all up in that bad boy. All right, coat the whole pan. All right, gonna sear these for about 2 minutes in total on each side, flipping everything. So I got the tongs out. Got to make sure they work first. We're good to go. All right, let's throw these bad boys on. Lay them away from you as you put them in the pan. Put the bigger boy in first. Put the old timer. Rinse the old tray off in the meantime. Dry the old hands off over here. But yeah, you just kind of leave it there, don't touch it too much. This pan's kind of small, but ideally what I would do is for the first flip, since you're putting it in with the cold side down, you want to place it in a different spot in the pan, but the pan is kind of small, so there's nowhere to do that. I use the bigger pan for the veggies because I had more of those. So I'm just going to do like this. right? Little flipperino. There we go. Getting a little sear going on. Oh, kicking the tripod for good measure. But yeah, waiting for another 30 seconds to go by, flipping again, and then keep doing that for about 4 minutes total. Once the time is up on that, I'm gonna throw them in the oven. I got the meat thermometer ready to go. I will stab it into that bad boy. It's a pretty sweet thermometer. I'll show you in a second, but I gotta flip the bad boys in like 2 seconds here. Flip it back. Keep that going. And then the old meat thermometer right over here. Cheap. I got it off Amazon. Not cheap, but like, you know, pretty affordable. It's got this long little thing here and a little pin. So you just stab it right in the meat. And then you can actually clip the thermometer. It's magnetic, right? So it can sit like right in the corner of the oven, right there if I want, which is great. But yeah, so I think I will probably cut the clip here and then I'll show you guys the finished steak and veggies when they're all done. Goodbye. Alrighty, food's all done. Let's cut into the steak here. It's done resting. Gonna see what it looks like. Now, I don't think it matters that much if you cut with or against the grain for steaks, but I will say I like to cut a little bit diagonally for aesthetic purposes. So, and I also prefer to cut against the grain personally. I just like the appeal of it, but I don't think it's like a huge deal. I know some people get all up in arms about that. Ooh, there we go. So yeah, it's looking pretty nice. I'll get more to the center, because that's where it's gonna be probably the most evenly cooked. And then I'll show you guys a piece up close, but yeah, it's looking pretty darn solid right now. Try not to squeeze the steak too much because I don't want to like squeeze all the juices out either. But yeah, there we go. Not too shabby. Looking pretty good. That's going to do it for this video, I think. We're going to eat this right now. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know when to see you in the next video, and I'll see you guys then, alright? Goodbye.